Well, it's early. We're early, but that's what happens when, you know, you're having fun. You want to just get on the air as soon as possible. And Director Jordan was like, you know what? Let's just go. Why not? Let's just start early. So we said, let's roll with it. Roll with the punches. So we're not perfectly ready yet, but we're getting there.
So are we ever perfectly ready though?
Never,
like, let's be honest.
Never.
Are we ever?
We usually get here like 2-ish hours before the show, maybe a little bit more some days, and usually with like 5 minutes left, we're like, oh wait, are we ready? Usually no is the answer. But we're here.
We do it live, as they say.
Yeah, we do it live, and
That's
I think it's better that way. It's authentic. You're getting our
Not
authentic
like the NHL
selves.
these days.
Ooh, we'll get into that.
Said that.
We will get into that. But anyways, Adam Schultz is checking in. He likes the early start. Ben Wilhelm's checking in. Clark, can you tell Mad Max that Marner is back? Yes, Max Marner is back.
He scored 1 goal, Benjamin. He
got
gets
an
paid
assist.
$10.9 million.
Yep.
Oh, sweet. He's got
2
an assist.
points.
Awesome. Great.
Might be
Good
3
job.
points, actually.
3 points? So
maybe.
Is he at 11 for the year to match his salary?
He's at like 4.
No, exactly.
4 or
so
5.
he's had a good game, Benny. He's had a good game.
I agree with you,
Miss
though,
you, pal.
Ben. I'm on Team Ben.
Yeah, I know. You Leaf fans are all. What's that saying? You birds of a feather flock together or
Flock
something?
together. Sometimes you don't flock
something
at
like
all.
that.
Kevin Vosberg.
That's provocative.
You like that? He does have 3 points tonight, says Ben. Kevin Vosberg's checking in, says, hey, Clark, Max is here too.
Tough, hey?
Yeah, sorry, Max.
This is what it is.
He's here.
It's fine.
Sometimes he blends into the fridge, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly.
In the background.
You
But
saying
anyways,
you like to drink stuff a lot, or what?
who knows? You're taking a hiatus.
I am.
We'll get into that later. Blair Stepp is checking in. Blair says, good evening, gents. Thank you, Blair. Make sure if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, I will put the YouTube link in the Facebook chat. We want you all to head over to YouTube and check it out over there. Hit subscribe over there. We're like inching our way closer to 100 subscribers. We need that number. Colton Jones is watching on YouTube. He says, yo, what's up, man? It's that Browns fan from the TikTok stream earlier. Shout out to that guy. Donated some money on my TikTok live earlier. Huge supporter. Love that guy. That Browns fan, Colton Jones. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us tonight, Colton. Since we're in early, I just want to talk to everybody because we got time before we're supposed to actually start.
Okay, we always say that, though, and then we run out of time.
And then we're late, yeah.
Right on time.
Yeah, absolutely.
As per usual.
What I was going to say is if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you comment in throughout the night. Send us anything. Ask us anything. As we always put Hulk up on the screen here.
How's his shirt update going?
Not going. It's not. And apparently he doesn't even want to show his face tonight. He's so embarrassed by his shirt. But Hulk Hogan, ask us anything. Yeah, it doesn't exist tonight. There he is. Anyways, we're having fun. Hulk Hogan, ask us anything. So comment in. Your comments literally make the show better. If you comment on Facebook, YouTube, send us comments, send us questions, ask us about stuff you want to know about, or if we're talking about something and you want to, if we're not mentioning a part of the conversation, ask away. Fire in the questions.
I have a comment.
Yes,
Why
sir.
didn't you craft me one of those really nice looking poppies?
Yes. So
how's that work? So I'm running around the Northgate Mall before coming to the show today because Clark says he needs a poppy. Well,
no, I didn't say I needed a poppy. I said you should get a poppy.
Yeah. Okay,
good.
Interesting. Anyway, so I'm looking around the Northgate Mall in good old Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, because Clark says, you know what, Max, we really need poppies for tonight. You know what?
We should
Clark,
wear poppies.
I could not agree more.
Yeah,
we really should be wearing poppies, and in the absence of mine, I will ensure that I wear 2 next week.
Good.
But however, like I said, it was not relayed to me the update that Clark had already got himself figured out.
I'm set.
And didn't worry about his co-host. It sounds like an Austin Matthews play right there, not to worry about his line mate. But, you know, is what it is. That's fine.
Guy
That's
scores
fine.
a couple goals.
We'll roll from there.
Helps out your fantasy team, and you're just bashing them already? Like, geez, that's harsh. But anyways,
I said I got no problem with Austin tonight. I'm just saying. I pick up his line mate from time to time. You know.
Sheridan Davis checking in. Got to hit the co-ops. The co-ops.
Where was that tidbit 2 hours ago, man?
I don't know. Our show wasn't live 2 hours ago.
You were on TikTok, though.
I was on TikTok. Sheridan, you should have told him. But anyways, this, if you're interested and you're in the Regina area, my wife sells these at her store.
Well, that's good to know. I'll gladly go there and support her store.
It's a local artist that does these.
Nice.
In Regina.
It's very nice. It's very well done.
It's a nice beaded poppy, great quality. You know how sometimes poppies like fall out? This has a nice pin on the back.
Absolutely. That's a year-long wearable one for sure.
It's a good one. And all the proceeds go to charitable causes. So
I'll be sure to stop by.
If you are in the area and you want to support my wife's store, but also this local artist, and on top of that, the charities that it supports, hit them up.
The name of that business, A Warehouse Books.
A Warehouse books.
You gave the location. You didn't give the title.
13th Avenue. Well, I said it earlier, but it was in the middle of a bunch of stuff. Sheridan says, you should have asked then for FFS. I should almost said the thing with FFS.
Kid show, Sheridan.
Family friendly. Welcome in, everybody. We're still kind of getting kicked off because, again, our director said, hey, why don't we start 5 minutes early today? And we said, sure.
Testing us as a tandem.
And I think we're doing okay. Obviously, we're scrambling, saying hi to everybody.
Like Justin Wilde, Fields out of the pocket. We're just scrambling.
Hot and cold, just like Katy Perry.
He actually had a really nice touchdown this weekend when he was doing said scrambling.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I don't know if you
caught
star.
It.
You were probably watching Leaf highlights from 1967 or something, but that's okay.
The good times. Robin Wildy said, got to duck out in about 15 minutes. You got to plan this SO Cup. Oh, he's got to plan this SO Cup U18 Female National Championship in Prince Albert this April. Robin, shout out to you. Go do the good work, my man.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that. Maybe we'll get out there. That'd be fun in April. Birthday present for old producer Clark. Let's do it. Go check out some under 18 female national championships.
Is it your birthday every month?
Well, of course. When you turn 30,
I guess
you gotta get a reason to
get up in the morning. Eh? Yeah. It's my birthday every day.
It's like, you know how everyone has like a birthday week or like a birthday month or whatever.
Clark's birthday year,
just all the time. Just live your life like you're having a birthday, and it's a better life, you know?
Easy to get out of bed those mornings, every morning.
Yeah, totally. So, I don't know. Should we get into the actual topics?
Yeah.
It's 4-0 for the Maple Leafs.
Got to take these updates when you can, because usually it's the other way.
William Nylander scored a goal. Love it. Love it.
Just need Johnny T to hop in there with some production. Then you got all four of those guys.
Yeah, he scored a couple last game. He was looking really good last game. So, but hey, if we can finally win a game, as I'm talking as a Leafs fan, if the Leafs can finally win a game convincingly, when they should win a game convincingly, I will be a happy gentleman and sleep well at night, because they should have beat the Penguins. They got stomped. They should have beat the Sharks. They got stomped. So
they should have took care of the Hawks in regulation. They should be roasting the Golden Knights without Pacioretty and Stone.
And if we wanted to go to the just hit me right in the heartstrings, they should have beat the goddamn Montreal Canadiens.
They really should have.
Sorry, everybody.
As the title of the pre-intro song says, you did it to yourself.
I did it to myself. It's true. Good reference. Colton Jones checking in on YouTube. He says, first question of the day, what do you guys think about Patty Kane? Is he close to the end of his prime? We can talk about that. What do you think?
Definitely talk about that.
Just straight up on the ice, Patty Kane, is he getting near the end of his days?
Well, I don't know. He had a 4-point night the other night, right? I mean, it's this is the hardest thing with Patty Kane, because obviously you take the non-hockey stuff that we'll get into a little later in the show, and then you account for the fact that he's traditionally not a prime age player, but he's Patty Kane. He's, as far as what he's done on the ice, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's zero
on the ice.
On the ice. That's
he's had some off-ice issues, and then obviously he's being not charged or anything like that, but he's being implicated.
He's had some off-ice things that are going to follow him as much like his captain, Johnny Taves. But
they're being implicated, I'll say, in this recent Kyle Beach stuff.
Well, and then you had the taxi cab driver incident back in the day as well, too. I mean, like we said, on the ice, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. But when it comes to the production side of things, I mean, I can't really say he's out of his prime until he's producing only 60, 70 points a year.
What is he, like 33 now, 34 maybe?
34, yeah, exactly.
I would say he's still got a good 3-4 years of like really solid, don't have to worry about this guy on the top line production type stuff. Sure. But yeah, he's the type of guy. He's got so much skill, and his hands are so good, and he's got such a good shot, and he can play. He's a playmaker at the same time. He can play for a long time and be just fine. So he's
and that's about all the good that we're going to say about the Chicago Blackhawks this evening.
Yes, so, and do you want to dive right in?
Not particularly, but I mean, like
we have to. We don't necessarily want to, of course, but it's one of those things. It's the talk of the town right now, and when I say the town, I mean the entire NHL world. So let's go ahead. This is going to be one of those topics. Again, we don't love talking about this stuff, but when it takes over like it has, we kind of have to. Gary Bettman came out this week with a statement for. I guess let's back up a little bit, Max. We talked about this before the show. A lot has happened since last week's SquadCast episode. If you recall, last week at this time during our show, we were talking about the Blackhawks getting fined. The statement from Kyle Beach hadn't come out yet. Joel Quenneville hadn't been let go yet. Cheveldayoff hadn't been pressured yet, and we'll get to
Kyle
that
Beach's interview hadn't come out yet.
That's what I mean. As I said, the Rick Westhead interview with Kyle Beach hadn't come out. That was the next day. And a lot of the Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves talk, all of that has happened since. So Joel Quenneville getting released, I guess, or resigning from the Florida Panthers. He was obviously the head coach at the time. He was more of a figurehead than what turned out to be what they said Kevin Cheveldayoff was at the time. It was the two that were kind of in the conversation for should they be let go from their current jobs. But it was deemed by who, I don't know, somebody
ownership.
Somebody deemed Kevin Cheveldayoff. It was deemed that he wasn't as heavily involved or as high up in the food chain as other guys, whereas
he wasn't a part of the senior management group.
Right, for Cheveldayoff. Whereas Quenneville, he should have been in a position of, making decisions and stuff like that. And he essentially, from what we kind of heard, took himself out of it and said, I don't want to deal with it. I'm trying to win a Stanley Cup. You guys handle it, more or less. This is the Jets. You guys can save the Jets for next. We're going to talk about a few other things first. But in terms of Joel Quenneville, the conversation was, should he have even been allowed to coach the game that he was in? And was resigning the right move? So I'll let you, Max. I see you shaking your head. Should he have been allowed to coach?
The fact that he was allowed behind the bench last Wednesday night against the Boston Bruins for the Florida Panthers is an absolute joke. The NHL has fumbled this from the word go. Even dating back to 2010, with everything that we've read, everything that we've seen, there's no pulling punches. This is a very bad look for the National Hockey League. You and I are both diehard fans of this league, as are millions of other people. This is a very, very bad time for the National Hockey League right now. And Joel Quenneville, you know what? He deserved to lose his job. He shouldn't have been resorted to resigning. He should have just been told, no, you're not coaching anymore. This is absolutely ridiculous. How he was allowed behind the bench with everything that they knew, because the report was given to the National Hockey League on Monday. Obviously, it came out to the public on Tuesday. They couldn't have put him on some sort of administrative leave, some sort of, you know what, Joel, maybe this is probably not the best time for you to be, doing your job right now. Oh, the Florida Panthers are off to a 7-0 start. Well, you know what? That's why we're in this mess, is because the NHL has said through all of this, this is my blanket statement for all of it right now. The NHL has put the big 35-pound silver cup on a pedestal that is apparently worth more than what happens to the humans that chase it. Yeah. And it's a problem.
Winning the game has become, in the culture of the sport, more important than winning a game has become more, even the Stanley Cup, of course, but in the terms of the Wednesday night game where Quenneville coached, winning that game was more important than maybe just taking a step back for a day.
And it would have been so easy to do. All it is a phone call from Gary Bettman or Bill Daly saying, you know what, guys, pull him from the bench. He's on admin leave. That's it. That's all it had to be done.
That wouldn't have made it better. It would have it wouldn't have made it. It wouldn't have fixed it. It would have made it better.
Oh, exactly. At the end of the day, the NHL has made every wrong move that you could make on the chessboard from the word go. And this is where, again, we're going to talk about a little bit later with Julian Mckenzie. And it's unfortunate. Again, we don't like talking about these things, but it's about time. It's about time that, you know what, the NHL has to wear a little salt in their own self-inflicted wounds here. And Joel Quenneville should not have been behind the bench. And you know what? He should not be coaching for a very, very long time at any level, let alone the pros, amateur, whatever it may be. He was complicit in this cover-up. And at the end of the day, I hate to paint such a wide brush because, yes, he made a very, very egregious error in his judgment in not bringing this forward. However, he's done a lot of good things, as it were, but at the end of the day, this was a ridiculously bad lack of judgment on his part, and he is receiving the consequences that he deserves for it. So, moving on,
but not quite. Then we get to, the timeline. It's been a crazy week in terms of all this news, but just, the last 48 hours, Gary Bettman comes out with a statement on behalf of the NHL, I think on behalf of a lot of people, and it was more or less a press conference, but there was a statement involved as well. There's Gary. I guess the question I have for this is did we get enough out of this statement from the figurehead, the actual top of the totem pole for the NHL in terms of decision making and everything? Gary Bettman came out and, I put the word, he lawyer spoke his way out of it. A lot of vague comments, a lot of not fully answering questions that were asked of him, a lot of, non-empathy. There's no or sympathy, I guess, whatever. I'm terrible with
He lacked both.
But my question to you, Max, and I said this before the show to you, is what have we seen from Gary Bettman in his 20-plus years of being a commissioner of this league that led you to expect anything else than this? He is a lawyer by trade. He has shown time after time that he puts the business first. He puts his owners first. And when it comes to defending things and talking things down, he does it every time. So why was there was a lot of people expecting this big, heartfelt human interest story out of Gary Bettman. He's not that guy. So I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but Max, I don't know. There was just even freezing Rick Westhead out of questions. It was 49 questions before they allowed Rick Westhead to ask a question, and the guy was spearheading this whole investigation, more or less. Him and Katie Strang. Shout out to Katie Strang as well. She deserves a lot of kudos for what she did in this. But Alan Walsh came out today, agent, superstar agent. He's one of the longest serving. He has a lot of big name clients. He came out and said, from what he's hearing now, again, Alan Walsh, if you remember, he's stabbing the sword through Marc-Andre Fleury's back a couple years ago, or not even a couple years ago. He likes to stir things up, so keep that in mind, I guess. But at the same time, he said from what he's hearing, there's a few owners that are getting restless with Gary's leadership abilities. He straight up said, fire Bettman in a tweet today, Alan Walsh. Mm-hmm. So I guess with all that information I just threw at you, Max, Gary Bettman, did we get enough as NHL hockey fans out of the Gary Bettman statement?
And I really like what you said at the end of the day. What else were we expecting, right? It's a lot of lawyer speak from a lawyer. However, the lack of empathy and the very, very poor justification of explaining what the punishment was for the Chicago Blackhawks, it all just sits very sourly with myself. At the end of the day, like you said, he answers to 32 owners now, 32 ownership groups, however you wanted to define it, and they sign off on his paychecks. Mm-hmm. And when you have that kind of tie-in of who's making the decisions, who's handing out the discipline, it's easy to see where the lines get blurred here. The statement itself, like you said, it is what it is. It's kind of par for the course for Gary Bettman. And again, right, this is just... We can say it till we're blue in the face. The NHL has made every wrong move that they could possibly make from a public relations standpoint, from a empathy standpoint, from even the Akeem Alou situation that was brought up throughout the interview. They flat out lied about it. So I don't know what credibility they have left as a league. And like I said, it's tough to be a hockey fan this week. And again, this is where we still haven't really acknowledged it quite yet. The courageousness of Kyle Beach to come out in this time. That's what's important here, not about how we feel as hockey fans or this or that or anything else. But
can I add to that statement? I won't name this person, but there was a person who was voicing his defense of Jonathan Toews and Joel Quenneville's, personalities and whatever. And some people were getting mad at him, and he came and asked me, what am I doing wrong? I really think Jonathan Toews is a good person and all this stuff. And I said to the guy, but I said, you know what? Now is not the time to defend. Now is the time to support Kyle Beach. And I feel like there's a few people that are missing that, especially at the moment. I mean, we're a week in now, so there's a lot of other things that have developed since the statement and the video of the interview came out with Kyle Beach and Rick Westhead. But it's time for support. It's not time to defend those who are getting talked about that aren't Kyle Beach. There will be time for that down the road if it happens. But right now, let's just work on focusing on Kyle Beach and others who have been in situations similar. And let's fix this problem and fix this culture and fix all the things that need to be fixed. And then we can move on to the next step of figuring out who's to blame and who's all that stuff on the peripheral, on the fringe.
For sure, and I think
it's a deep context. But I think at the time, there was a few people just missing the point. Let's support Kyle Beach right now, and those involved on his side. We'll figure out the rest later.
Absolutely. And Katie Strange, as you alluded to earlier, she nailed it right. Hockey right now is the distraction, not all this other stuff. And that's how kind of it's being painted across the league and the fandom and whatever else. But when it comes to it as well, again, to paraphrase and borrow from Mark Chipman, whose statement came out today alongside his general manager, Kevin Cheveldayoff. There's some systemic problems right now in the NHL, and they're going to require some systemic solutions. And for Mark Chipman to say that may have been the best statement that has come from all of this. Now, if action is going to be taken, that's going to be the next step, right? Words are nice, and they make for fancy-looking graphics and all that good stuff. But is the action going to take place to see these changes through in the National Hockey League? And we, again, sports fans, there's skeletons in every league's closet. We all know that, right? But this is really, really painting the league. And again, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how the shield is represented at this point. It's how do we create meaningful change for people that have been victims of abuse and assault? And at the end of the day, I think talking about it is, again, it's a good thing. But at the same time, the action now needs to take place from everybody, whether you're a fan of the game, whether you're a part of the National Hockey League, going all the way up and down, major, junior, whatever it is, there needs to be actions taken. And if you see or hear or feel a situation is coming that needs to be discussed, it's clearly the message here is you need to step up and say something.
And there was one thing, and you kind of mentioned the junior hockey aspect. There was one thing that if I were to be extra critical of the Gary Bettman statement, I know that the statement from Kevin Cheveldayoff's up. That was actually Kevin's original statement before the meeting with Gary Bettman. So that wasn't from today, that statement that was on the screen. But if there was one thing that I could be extra critical of, it was when somebody asked him if Sheldon Kennedy's situation, related to this at all, or if you've reached out to him for help on this situation, and he cut the guy off. And he said Sheldon Kennedy's situation was in a different league. It wasn't our league. Not almost said wasn't our problem, and that's just
that's the core of the problem.
Read the room, Gary.
It's the core of where this situation began. It was a lot of guys with power in their organization saying, nope, not a problem. We're chasing something better and bigger right now. Come on. This was just, again,
Janelle
bad.
Barkman, just shout out Janelle. She says, hi, my boys. Sheridan Davis, quick update. 3-0 on a Jorge Soler home run. 3-0 for the Braves. Quick update there. In terms of the Winnipeg Jet statement, I mean, again, the one we showed on the screen was actually from about a week and a bit ago, from Kevin Cheveldayoff. The statement that came out today and their press conference today was their tone seemed to me what the NHL's tone should have been. There was we're sorry that this happened. I wish I would have done more, Kevin Cheveldayoff said. I wish I would have been in a better position to do more at the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, he basically said, I can't do anything now to change it or make it better now, but I have learned a lot from this and I'm going to make it better for the future. And that was what you just said, Max, with what are the actions now? Let's do that now. Yeah. It's hard to segue out of something bad into something that's also bad. But I guess let's just go for it. Henry Ruggs, this is a Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders receiver. Rookie still, or is he second year now? Max, you kind of I'm going to let you talk about this because I think you know more about this than I do. I know the situation is I haven't seen this picture. That's insane. Mm-hmm. He rear-ended somebody massively under the influence, and it got pretty bad, obviously, by that picture. He was driving I think it was a Corvette, and the person was driving I think that's the Toyota RAV4. I think that's the RAV4, if you can even tell. But Max, you related this to the Danny Heatley situation back in the day, which was awful in its own right. Can you tell me about the situation with Henry Ruggs?
Yeah, and again, right, not in any sort of levity or context of a joking manner of the Danny Heatley situation, but it does very much alarmingly resemble it. Man, just a very, very sad situation. Again, forget the NFL football player and all this. Somebody has lost a family member as a result of stupidity today. And again, it just, man, this is a really heavy start of the show with all the things that we're talking about. But when it comes to Henry Ruggs, at the end of the day, this is, again, where football doesn't matter. Just because he's wearing a uniform, again, it doesn't matter. This is another person that made a very, very egregious error, one that's a senseless error, one that just makes zero sense from the word go. Impaired driving is something that, at the end of the day, especially with all the resources at any time of day that are available to get you and your family home safely, this was senseless. And this family now is impacted for the rest of their lives. Henry Ruggs' life is now impacted because of a senseless and really unthoughtful decision of his own. And it's going to cost him his career, and it should. Mm-hmm. So prayers out to the family who lost someone today because of somebody else's senseless actions. This is still a developing story, but this is at least my commentary on it from what we know right now. 3:39 this morning is when it passed. The Raiders were on their bye week, and I can only assume Ruggs was probably still not in a great state, probably heading into practice today, or should have been heading into practice today to prepare for the Raiders Week 9 matchup. But again, football doesn't matter at this point. This is just, again, a very, very sad story that continues to just really bookend a very rough week across sports that we love.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And I think we'll leave it at that, more or less, but we'll keep an eye on it and maybe develop or tell you what has developed into next week, because this isn't over. No. This is a developing story too. So with that being said, now we can maybe segue into some less dark stuff. And it's hard to do that from that. Mm-hmm. So let's just go segue. Okay. NFL trade deadline recap.
This actually is happy. This is a very happy time for myself personally.
The couple
if you couldn't tell.
Now it wasn't like a frenzy. There wasn't 100 trades done. There was like 4. But the ones that were made, Max is pretty pumped about, because the Los Angeles Rams went out and got linebacker Von Miller, 8-time Pro Bowler, I think it is, 10-time
Pro Bowler,
and linebacker for a defense that was already pretty dang good, and they went out and got even better.
Clark, have you heard of Aaron Donald?
I've heard of the guy.
3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Jalen Ramsey?
I've heard of that guy.
He's a pretty good corner.
Pretty good guy.
Have you heard of Leonard Floyd?
Leonard Floyd, yes.
Yeah,
pretty good guy.
Have you heard about Von Miller?
I've heard of the guy
This
too.
defensive line is going to be a problem.
Yep.
And I don't care about the bias, whatever it is. This is a Super Bowl winning move for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm saying it right now. Take the bias out of it, put it into it, whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is very, very exciting. Could you imagine if they scheme him next to Aaron Donald? What are offensive lines going to do? Pray?
Or just
That's about what they
throw
got.
Aaron Donald on the outside and Von Miller on the other outside, and then you're like, how do we?
And if it's not working, then just line them up beside each other.
Do it.
So it doesn't really matter. This is going to be
nasty.
Great.
And one cool part about this for the Rams is, the first thing I saw was, how the heck are the Rams going to fit this in their salary cap? The Broncos retained. The Broncos retained 98% or something of the rest of his salary.
$9 million of his $9.7 million salary. Nope. So Les Snead says, take our second rounder. Take our third rounder. We don't know what those prospects are going to do for us. We know what Von Miller's going to do for us.
They're going to be like the 50th and 90th pick in the draft. So, who cares? You're going to go make a playoff run, go get it done.
100%.
So that's a big one. Another big one-ish in terms of name value was Melvin Ingram going from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another defense that has been really struggling this year. And again, you said it kind of jokingly, but also seriously. Melvin Ingram, the linebacker, isn't the same player he used to be, but for the Chiefs, struggling as bad as they have, I think in what am I trying to say? Injecting a linebacker like that into the roster can't hurt at this point. He's at least.
If you watched him on Monday Night Football last night, the Chiefs are broken. They came out with the W, but this isn't your.
This isn't your grandpa's Chiefs.
Well, this isn't your last year's Chiefs, the world beaters that were going to their second straight Super Bowl appearance. So, man, Tom Brady, he ruins dynasties. That's just what he does.
Totally. We're going to save a bunch of the rest of our talk for later, because we have a special guest right here in the studio. So I'm going to hop out. Max, you're going to take over, and our friend Austin Filipchuk from Hooplife Basketball is going to be up right after this break. However, the top of the order today was brought to you by our friends over at RBI Baseball. Are you looking for a way to improve your skills on the field, in the gym, et cetera, well, head over to RBI Baseball and softball training here in Regina. They can hook you up with some of the best instructors, some of the best on-field and off-field training programs, and more. They're located just east of Regina, and they are Saskatchewan's premier baseball training facility all year round. So make sure you head out there. I think they're just underway for block 1 in terms of they do 4 blocks of training in the off season. I think they just started block 1. I think Chris told me that there are still a couple spots available to get for different age ranges for children to get in there, from ages, I think it's like 5 all the way to 18. So there's a ton of stuff going on out there. Check them out. They just got a new website, RBIBaseball, .com. I think it's RBIBaseball.com. He told me I totally forgot. I think it's RBIBaseball.com. Or check out their Facebook and Instagram. Their Instagram is fabulous. Go check that out. At RBI, they rise above the rest. We're going to take a 2.5-minute break, and when we come back, I'm going to be Austin Filipchuk. See you later.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Welcome back, everyone. And as Clark always likes to say that, you know, when we have featured guests come in, that the person always sitting in the other chair just happens to, you know, make the show better looking. Well, Clark, I'm going to fire that one back at you. Austin Filipchuk, back in the chair from Hooplife, Director of Basketball Operations. Austin, how's it going tonight?
It is going good.
Fantastic.
It's busy, but that's the best way it can be.
Heard you were burning the midnight oil at the office last night. Hey, it was
always putting in the work.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Got to. Long days, but it's worth it.
It's all worth it, 100%. Well, you know what? We're going to talk about some topics tonight in a league that's not having near as much drama going on as the National Hockey League, the National Football League. We got to talk about the association because obviously the season's off to a flying start. It's been fantastic as of late for the Toronto Raptors and their fans. I mean, going on a bit of a 4-0 run after a 1-3 start. Can you just kind of talk about the Raps a little bit to open things up here?
I think the biggest thing for them is just finally being back at home. It's been 2 seasons pretty much, and they've got 4 guys that have played prior in Toronto. So actually having a team back in the home, not having to play a full game or a full season on the road, I think has been huge for them and finally helping them get in their footing.
Oh, 100%. And then, again, we were talking about it a little bit off air, and we'll get to it, I'm sure, in the corner 3 here. And I guess, you know what, maybe let's open that up. Guys, let's bring up that corner 3 graphic. We're going to maybe go a little bit out of order just for the transcendence of the topics that we have once that graphic comes up. But we'll just kind of lead it in with Scotty, too hotty, referencing our man, Scotty Barnes. Just tell me, what's going on with Scotty, and why is he kind of leading the charge in the corner 3 here?
My guy, Scotty Barnes.
Sorry, that's last week's corner 3, guys, but good stuff.
Scotty, he's definitely got the energy. That's the biggest thing with him. And I know the Raptors were kind of looking at him as more of a project, but right off the get-go, I don't think they were expecting this.
For sure.
I know people are comparing him to Jalen Suggs and saying Suggs was looking more NBA ready, but those people are biting their tongues right now because they were not right.
Absolutely. And you know what? Masai obviously felt a lot of confidence in him, right? Drafting him number 4, just behind Jalen Suggs. And they had a chance to kind of see the head-to-head comparison a few nights ago. And like you said, Scotty he certainly seems to have taken those comments about being NBA ready and maybe took him to heart in the offseason, because he's certainly looking the part of that next great Raptor. Do you think that for the evolution of Scotty, like what needs to happen here for him to truly elevate to another level? Obviously, he's only 6-7 games into hopefully a long and prosperous NBA career, but what do you see just based on the early season returns? What's the next step in his progression?
I think the biggest thing is just finding what his weaknesses are. He's so good at doing the little things and being almost that Draymond, where he could pass the ball, he could play defense, he could pretty much do everything. His biggest weakness right now is kind of his shooting. So he's shooting, I think, 22% from 3, which everyone knew going into the NBA, going into the draft, that was going to be his biggest weakness. And it's the same thing with guys like Giannis and always that kind of wing mold of just, can they develop an actual jump shot? And if he gets that, I think it's a wrap.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Good pun there, though. Hey, it's a good wrap for a wrap. But, yeah, early on in his career, obviously, he's got tons of time to develop that side of his game, and it's going to be just a ton of fun to watch. Just a treat for Toronto Raptors fans. If you haven't tuned in to watch them so far, Scotty Barnes, been electric across the board. And as you said, without Pascal Siakam, too, when he returns to the lineup, this could be a team that's all of a sudden a little more accelerated in their rebuild plans after losing Kyle Lowry, moving back into the corner 3. Kyle Lowry, his new team, Jimmy Butler and co., the Miami Heat. Things are heating up in Miami. What can you tell me about what's going on in South Beach right now?
So I will say there are 2 big additions this offseason. Most people would think it's only one. Okay, they picked up Kyle Lowry. The low-key pickup for them was Zay Hero. People might not think about this, but Tyler Hero, since having his kid, has been going crazy. Yeah. So he's kind of back to that bubble boy, that bubble hero, averaging 20 off the bench. That's been a huge development for them. And then you throw Kyle Lowry in there. His stats might not be looking great, but everyone that's a Raptors fan knows it's not always about the stats with Kyle Lowry.
100%.
He's given you every single thing on there, all the hustle, all the effort. And the biggest thing is his leadership as well. So those 2 pickups this offseason were huge for them, and I think they're back to what they can do in the bubble.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you followed up on this a little bit or not, but I saw the clip last week, Jimmy Butler calling Kyle out in his media availability saying, "Kyle, my daughter, it's her birthday. I need a gift, 100K, no less." Do you know if you actually followed up on that, followed through with that? What was the...
I don't, but... I mean, Kyle's a good guy. If it wasn't 100K, I'm sure it was close.
Well, $35 million a year he was making in Toronto, so I'm sure he could probably afford it for his new running mate's daughter. So anyways, I just thought that was a hilarious story. And again, it'd be funny to see if anything came from it. But to wrap up the corner 3 tonight, Austin, no free throws. Big problem. Now, is that just something that's going on across the association, certain teams, certain guys? What's going on at the line?
Yeah, so the NBA, we kind of actually addressed this last time I was here, how they were making changes with their calling system. And there's some guys that have been taking a huge hit on this. So you look at some of your superstars like Trae Young and James Harden and Damian Lillard, these guys that were putting up big points. And a lot of their points came from the free throw line. So you look at a guy like James Harden, who used to shoot like 15 free throws a game. Now he's got like 4 or 6 a game. It's going to be big on his numbers, and it's going to really impact their teams as well.
Absolutely. And you know what, again, an evolution that we'll be following all year long, right? To me, it's something that, again, maybe seems like a bit of a microcosm in the first couple of weeks of the season, but as things progress and as things develop, that's going to be something to note come a little bit closer to playoff time. But
for sure.
Austin, obviously, there's a ton going on at Hooplife right now. You guys are just on the verge of opening a state-of-the-art facility. What's up at Hooplife? And again, just kind of give everybody a little bit of insight as to where your guys' next steps in the immediate and, I guess, medium-term future are at.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, big things coming. So the first day in the new facility is November 12th. So all of the students, they've got the day off of school. It's a Friday. It's a PD day for them, so we've got a shooting clinic coming up. So that's 3-hour camps. Got to break those rims in. Absolutely. So getting shots up, doing a shooting clinic, it's going to be tons of fun, and it gives everyone a chance to test out the new building. In addition to that, we've got the league, so we've got our practices starting up this week. So things are flying, things are moving, and it's really busy right now. So
much to look forward to, and I guess what would your personally, again, there's so many things to be excited about, but personally, what's the most exciting thing about moving into your guys' own brand new facility?
I think just being able to call it home, right? Having that consistency of knowing where we are and when we are. And I appreciate Laval for having us at home there for a little bit, but just being able to spread our wings and go into our new place and just being able to use it as much as possible.
Absolutely. And where can everybody find you? The address, the website, socials, where can everybody find you guys for the new building and then some?
Yeah, so like you said, we've got on our website, we've got all our information there. On our Instagram and our Facebook. If you guys, anyone has any questions, right? If people want to come try out Hooplife, if you guys want to experience, come check out the new building, definitely just reach out to us and we'll be able to get you guys there.
Man, that's super exciting. And I guess, man, for Andrew, Habib, yourself, everybody on the leadership team over there, we just want to say, hey, man, congratulations. This is obviously super, super exciting. You guys are working your asses off, and I just can't wait to see the final product. I know it's going to be fantastic. But I mean, Austin, is there anything else going on in the association that you'd like to maybe chat about? Anything that's kind of perked up the interest over the last week or so? We were talking a little bit off air about Russell Westbrook deciding he wanted to be a little bit mad at the end of the game. Russ being Russ, right? Yeah. But anything else exciting going on around the association that's perking your interest? I mean, probably not a lot of time to watch highlights in these next 10 days or so, but anything else?
There's been some interesting things going on, like you said, with Russ, and you kind of look back at the whole Lakers thing this whole year. Where they had Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard kind of fighting with each other. So I know coming into the season, a lot of people were looking at that Lakers team and seeing how they fit, and especially with that LeBron injury as well. I think he said he should be back either tonight or tomorrow whenever they play next. But it's going to be interesting. They've got only one regular season to figure it out, and just whether or not they're able to figure it out is going to be something fun to watch.
100%. So many good things across the association, and obviously basketball is just getting going, right? 2+ weeks-ish into the season. I know I can't wait to watch a little bit more of Scotty Barnes. And I don't know, again, we talked about jerseys last time you were on. Is he probably kind of creeping up there for a next jersey to purchase for yourself?
100%. They just dropped those new jerseys too. The gold OVO with the dinosaur
the city
on
editions.
It. Yeah.
Oh, those are nice, man. They nailed it with that. They kind of reinvented the Raptor a little bit. I noticed that. Yeah. It's just it just flows across the board. It just screams Drake designed this uni. It's kind of what it looks like.
100%. That one is for sure going to be hanging out the wall in my house right beside my nice Habib jersey. Oh, will fit in perfectly.
Habib, the legend. That's what they call him around these parts anyways. That's right. Well, Austin, thanks a ton for the time tonight, man. Really appreciate it. Again, I know you guys have a grind to get back to. It's going to be really exciting next 10 days. November 12th, 612 Solomon Crescent?
661.
661. I was close. 661 Solomon Crescent. Make sure you guys go check out Hooplife. And the top of the order was, in fact, brought to you by our friends over at Hooplife Basketball Training. Camps, sessions, apparel, a brand new facility, score clocks, great people like Austin running the show. You can't miss when you go over to Hooplife. Make sure you enter promo code SQUAD10 when you get into the website, and that gets you 10% off of all those things that I just mentioned. So, Austin, once again, thanks a ton for the time tonight. We're going to come back with our special guest, our IKS Media featured guest, Julian Mckenzie, in about 2.5 minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday Hooplife.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com. Seriously, since we changed our intro music, I get like a freaking concussion every time we come back from a commercial break. We're going to get to our next guest right away here, but first, we have 3 finals in the NHL. All shutouts, Max. Flyers, 3-0 over the Yotes. Wow. The Habs, 3-0 over the Red Wings. I'm sure our next guest is a little sigh of relief might have come over the whole entire city of Montreal tonight. For sure. And the Leafs, 4-0 over the Golden Knights. Shout out to the Leafs.
Oh, the Leafs. Good job.
On top of that, the World Series, quick update. The Braves are still up 3-0 in the top of the 5th over the Houston Astros in Game 6.
Go Braves.
They can clinch it tonight with a win. So
first title in 26 years, man. That'd be an exciting thing for that city.
Absolutely. Let's get into it now. Our next guest has been dubbed. Now, hold on. I got to butter this guy up. So don't bring him in yet. Our next guest has been dubbed the fastest rising podcast host and sports talker in Canada. And that was just by me. I dubbed him that.
That's a good review. That's very good preview.
This guy's been all over the place in the last couple of years, but just recently launched a very cool project, which he co-hosts, called The Chris Johnston Show on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network with, of course, Chris Johnston, name of the show, but just had to make sure. NHL Insider Chris Johnston, pretty cool. And that's on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, as I mentioned, on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Let's bring him in now. Please welcome to the show, Julian Mckenzie. Julian, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you just finished watching the Habs game, 3-0. That's got to be pretty good. Again, thanks for jumping in tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, like I said earlier, you've been skyrocketing up the charts. And when I said I was talking to you, Max over here was like, what, seriously? I'm like, yeah, we got him. We got Julian. So, again, appreciate your time tonight because I know you have a ton going on. But, Julian, again, I said you've been rising up the ranks here. Let's get into you a little bit before we talk hockey, because we're going to talk a whole bunch of stuff tonight. But for those who might not know who you are, tell me, you're from Montreal. You've been involved in a ton of different stuff, not just like a couple of cool things. You've been in a lot of things lately. So maybe tell some people, if you can sum it up, how you've gotten to where you are right now.
Just, I guess, a lot of hard work, and opportunities coming my way, and just making the most of them. If we start going through all the different opportunities that I've had over the last few years, I think we need to dedicate a whole hour to your show to do that. And I don't think you guys want to do that. But yeah, the CJ show's been a really big thing for me, and I'm really grateful to get that opportunity with them and the Steve Dangle Podcast Network and working with The Athletic, which I think has literally changed my life, to be quite honest with you, even though I'm an associate editor there and a contributor to their culture vertical. I've been able to, write articles on the Montreal Canadiens, got to cover them during their Stanley Cup final run, and go on all these different podcasts and all of these different other TV opportunities on Sportsnet as well. And just a lot. That's just this year, man. Like, just a lot of cool things have happened to me this year. And again, I'm not going to give the entire life story, but just a lot of really great opportunities have come my way over the last few years. I've tried my best to make the most of them. And now I'm just, on the next step of my journey in sports media. I'm just really grateful and really happy to be in a position where I'm working, I'm employed, and just making the most of my opportunity.
So, Julian, with all those opportunities, I can assume that sleep hasn't really made its way into the equation much, hey?
Sleep? What is that? Can you tell me what that is? I'm not really familiar with that.
Well, Webster's dictionary defined. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. We don't need to go there. But
okay. But let's get into it now. The big project, of course, that everyone's talking about is the Chris Johnston show. I know me and Max both watch it. I was joking with you via text message about an inside joke from the show. But I'm sure for you, it was a little bit surreal at first to kind of get it going. But now you're like, it seems like you're like experts. Now you guys have some great chemistry going on. How has it been like on your side from these first few weeks of shows?
It's been really cool just to be able to talk to a guy like CJ twice a week, because we do episodes Monday and Thursday. It's been really surreal. Like when the SDPN pitched me the idea, it's almost like a year ago. They pitched me the idea, actually. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I knew who Chris Johnston was, and I followed him on Twitter, but I had never met him. I didn't know what his personality was like. So I thought the idea would be like, all right, this is pretty cool. Just any opportunity to kind of work with Steve Dangle and just have the name Steve Dangle. I know he's technically not affiliated with this particular project. He's got a whole other podcast and a few other T-shirts he's trying to sell, but like his name is on the network. But just any opportunity to kind of be aligned with Steve and Adam and Jesse as well. I thought it was just like a cool idea. And then getting to know CJ throughout the last year has been really surreal. Like we were supposed to, I mean, it's already out there. We were supposed to start the podcast like way earlier this year, but we went through a couple bumps in the road before we were able to make that happen. And all the while we just kept in touch and just texted each other, and not even just like, hey, I hope the podcast still happens. Like, random stuff that happens in the NHL. Like we were going through the bubble all last year, and, we were just making conversation about the way the season was going. And when the Canadiens were making the run through the Stanley Cup final, we were supposed to, and we had not met in person at that point yet. We had agreed that if the Canadiens found a way to take the series to Game 6, we would meet up in person when he would come to Montreal, because he was in Tampa, I think, for Game 5. But for Game 6, he would have been in Montreal for that. And I was like, I don't root for anybody. I don't have any fans of teams, but I was rooting for the Canadiens to win just so we could meet up in Montreal. But obviously that did not happen. But we eventually met up in Toronto later that year. But CJ's just been really great, and he's a really great host to work with. And the podcast, as far as I'm concerned, could not have started any better for us, as far as I'm concerned.
So, Julian, before we get into some of the heavier stuff that's obviously kind of taken place over the last 7 to 10 days here, I just got to ask, what are those, I guess, early pre-production meetings like, kind of behind the Iron Curtain? So, Adam, Steve, Jesse, like, how's that go? Does Steve just come in screaming about the Leafs, and then Adam tries to settle him down, and then Jesse starts getting things kind of organized? What are those pre-production meetings like before things really got going with the CJ show and yourself?
So like I said, Steve wasn't really involved with that. Like, I guess he kind of just let us do our thing. It's more Adam and Jesse. And like, I'll say this about Steve, like Steve obviously is the face of the network and all that. And, that's great for him. He's a guy who started off as a Leafs fan yelling into a video camera. Now he has himself a podcast network. Dreams are possible in the world. You can go from an angry guy in a blue room to starting a network. But like Adam is the guy who is making the phone calls. He's making stuff happen. I think I could tell the story here. Like when it was maybe about like a few weeks before the podcast was supposed to start. Like I said, we were supposed to start earlier in the year, and then some bumps in the road happened before we could get it up. But at that point, I wasn't working with The Athletic yet. And anytime I've been able to do any extra stuff with The Athletic, like, all the other podcasts that I'm doing with Yahoo Sports or the Montreal Gazette or anything like that, I go to them and I'm like, yo, like, is it okay? And they normally say yes. And like Adam, like, texted me like the eyeball emoji, like, yo, like we doing the podcast. So I'm thinking, all right, we're going to do the podcast. So all I just need to do is just make sure that The Athletic is cool with it. And then I started thinking like, oh man, like, what if they see that I'm doing so much stuff and like it can't work out? What if they say no or something? And I'm like nervous, trying to break up the nerve to like go to my bosses and be like, yo, let me do this podcast. And they tell me yes. And then I go back to Adam and I'm like, yeah, so it's more like a formality thing, but The Athletic was cool with me doing the show. And they're like, well, yeah, of course they're doing the show. Why do you think I sent you the eyeball emoji? I'm like, what are you talking about? He went to The Athletic and got permission before even I could even do that. That's how dope like Adam is. And Jesse has to get his props too, because he's the guy who's doing all the production stuff with all the editing and everything on YouTube. He's doing everything. He's like the dude, the engine that makes it run. Adam's the guy with the phone making all the phone calls, and Steve's just the pretty face who everyone just gets attracted to and watches all the content on the network.
Yeah, he's launching his modeling career as we speak. Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, you see those photos on the dang it stuff, man, with the face, the blue steel going on, man? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You can tell he's seen Zoolander no less than 5 to 10 times at least, right?
At least 5 times.
Yeah, I'd give a good 7 or 8 to that.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, Julian, this is a bit of a tough transition. Obviously, being a hockey fan the last 7 to 10 days, it's not been a good time. And again, don't want to minimize that. It's not about the hockey fans this week. It's about Kyle Beach and his story and what everything has transpired within the Chicago Blackhawks organization. But just from your own personal perspective, what have your emotions and feelings and again perspective has been on the last 7 to 10 days being someone intimately involved in terms of covering the NHL?
A lot of sadness, exasperation, confusion, but also not too much surprise, because I hate to say it, I don't think it's news to you guys either, but hockey culture is essentially broken, and it's not necessarily just an NHL problem. This is something that everyone across the spectrum of hockey should pay attention to. Like, I think of what Tara Sloan from Hometown Hockey on Sportsnet was saying the other night, just essentially talking about hockey culture and just expressing her feelings. And, and she's not the only one who's probably brought this up and been met with, people saying that, hey, hockey culture isn't actually broken. But like, everyone right now should be looking at what's gone on over the last few days and thinking, okay, what needs to be done to ensure that we never go through a Kyle Beach situation ever again? We never see a Nakeem Aliu situation again. We cannot forget that happened too. I'll say this on any platform that I'm on. The Chicago Blackhawks, the same year they had to deal with the Kyle Beach mess, is the same year that organization had one of their players go through racial abuse from their head coach in the American Hockey League. All those incidents happened in the same season. We cannot forget that. Like, it's a situation where, and I understand it's an NHL team that went through that, and we as media people were far removed from that team. But as people who are invested into hockey as we are, we have to pay attention to that. We have to bring light to those stories, and we have to ensure that the culture that is there, we hold those people who are gatekeepers of those cultures accountable. We have to ensure this does not happen again. I feel a lot of sadness, and I'm upset at a few things, but I'm also encouraged at the fact that there are a lot of people who care, and there are a lot of people who want to see that change. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a week of reflection for a lot of people, and even Julian, people like myself who played hockey growing up, I think back to my experiences growing up and, some of the hazing things that happened. And I know this is a completely different scenario here, but, the cage boxing in the locker rooms that went on in those days, and, the bus pranks. I worked in junior hockey for a couple of years, the bus pranks that go on to the rookies coming in, and certain things. I honestly didn't see some of the bad stuff, but even just the little stuff, it all adds up into what you mentioned earlier, the hockey culture, and it's something. What you mentioned, Tara Sloan's comments, I think she summed it up really well.
It seems like the NHL is a league, she said this, that does a lot of following and not a lot of leading, and I'd love to see that flip around a little bit. So hopefully in the next, in the coming steps to fixing this, me and Max mentioned this earlier, but we start seeing action and on this and many other topics, because you mentioned it earlier. There's more to it than this. It's always hard to segue out of something like this, but let's look at it now. If we can...
I tell you, man. Whew. I tell you, there's been so much of that on so many different shows that I've been on, or I've just listened to, where it's like, yeah, we have to talk about this, but the Leafs did something. It's been a lot.
Speaking of that, and I think, no,
yeah,
yeah. 4-0, 4-0.
I don't blame you guys.
But hey, let's do a hard segue, hard switch, and we'll put on our game faces now. Montreal Canadiens, they won 3-0 tonight. You said you were watching the game before jumping on with us here. But overall, a historically rough start to the season. And I know Max has a second part to this question, but give me the vibes, because you're in town. Give me the vibes of the start to this team, because I know the market there, they've been rumored to be a little harsh on their team.
The rumors have been very true. In Montreal, it's always the two extremes. If you're doing very poorly, fans will let you know that you're doing very poorly, and the media will as well. But if you're doing very well, they will be doing ole-oles like halfway through a game. And that's what's been so weird about this season too. Like, they've won their third game of the season tonight. I could think of one game in particular, the other time they beat the Detroit Red Wings this year. That's when Mathieu Perreault had like a hat trick in his home province, seeing him get an ovation after that and him cheering his name, you would never guess that the team was off to its worst start in 26 years. Like the way that fans kind of teeter between, everything is bad, DEFCON 5 to, oh, something good happened, let's just be really cheerful. It could be very dizzying to follow, but yeah, ultimately the vibes are not necessarily effervescent. I mean, Cole Caulfield's in the American Hockey League, and all the questions are coming back about how the Canadians go about developing some of their young players. We all know what happened with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and there's a whole other host of other young players in this organization, or who are not in the organization anymore, who a lot of people can always point to and be like, the Montreal Canadiens did not do a great job of developing this player. I don't know if this team, as they are right now, will be capable of, putting themselves back at 500. They could always try. It's still really early in the year, but I'm used to seeing a Canadiens team that starts off the season really well, and then they have a dip in their play. But the way they start off a year is normally able to help. It usually helps them out in terms of having them end the season with a, somewhat decent record. This is an interesting outcome where they go off to a pretty terrible start. I forget who said it, but I think they haven't played this badly, or they haven't looked this badly since the Second World War. This is taking them some time before they've looked as badly as they've had. But yeah, the Montreal Canadiens right now, they're in a really tough spot with the way that they've started this year and the way the division is looking right now. It's not going to get any easier for them. But so yeah, the vibes right now in Montreal, very much on the down low right now. But considering how this year has been, man, just a lot of ups and downs, a lot of peaks and valleys in this city.
It's amazing, and again, with Jeff Merrick, he was talking a couple weeks ago on his podcast, the Jeff Merrick Show, produced by Jeff Merrick, directed by Jeff Merrick,
written by Jeff Merrick, starring Jeff Merrick. Yes.
Exactly, as Elliot Friedman likes to affectionately say. But he was just saying that it's not 182 game season in markets like Montreal and Toronto. It's 82 one-game seasons. You forget that this team was in the Stanley Cup final just a few months ago. But I guess, Julian, a double-barrel question going back to the Cole Caulfield situation. And again, I think maybe you got to lay eyes on the Twitter picture that made its rounds, and he made it for picture day in Laval, he didn't quite look super happy about that. But do you think overall that this is very much like a 2007, I guess a little bit earlier than that, Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry situation when they sent them down to the Portland Pirates? Is this a confidence thing for Cole Caulfield, or is this the team is off to a bad start, we need to see the culture change in order to bring up our top prospects so that he can prosper? What do you make of this situation for Cole, and is it more of a team thing or a him thing at this moment?
That's a really interesting question. I'll be quite honest with you. I didn't even know about the Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry situation, but you mentioning that made me think of the fact that Corey Perry apparently reached out to Cole Caulfield after he got sent down. And we all know what Corey Perry meant to the Canadiens last season. I feel like you could make an argument it could be both a confidence thing and just with the way that the team is going. And maybe not necessarily from a culture standpoint, but the team's not necessarily in the greatest of positions right now. He's not playing a lot of minutes. Why keep him in that situation when you can have him go back to the American Hockey League, where in the limited sample size that he played, he looked very good and very comfortable with the speed and the spacing that he was allotted there. Why not bring up his confidence that way? Let him stay for a couple of games, let him figure his game out, let him get back to the scoring groove that he was able to get in the regular season, and then he'll find his way back in the big leagues. And you can't help but, if you're Cole Caulfield, would feel very upset. Imagine if you're at, your kid with your family, you're normally sitting at the kids' table, and then one day the adults say, all right, you know what, you're old enough to hang out with the adults, and then they tell you, nah, you got to go back with the kids after a while. You get upset at that. So I completely understand why Cole Caulfield is not necessarily in the greatest of spirits being back in Laval, but if he scores enough goals, if he plays well and he gets his confidence back, he'll be back with the Montreal Canadiens before we know it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the perfect analogy. Best way to put it. I don't think I could say it any better. But
the kids' table, that's perfect.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah,
but I guess a little bit more positive news on the spectrum, right? It's been announced that Carrie Price is now leaving the player assistance program after 30-day stint. And again, wishing him all the best. Obviously, it's been a tumultuous time for him. And again, very exciting to hear that he's exiting the program, hopefully in a better place than when he found it. But I guess, Julian, what are you hearing in Montreal? Again, it's relatively fresh news coming out today. What does maybe the timeline of return look like for Carrie, if there even is a timeline at this point?
I was under the impression that the team expected him to be able to get out of the program after 30 days. Mm-hmm. And here's what I think is so difficult about this situation. We're all kind of chalking it up to mental health, but in the initial release for Carrie Price being admitted to the player assistance program, there was no specific reason listed. So that's why we've just kind of all just assumed it's a mental health thing. And it very well might be. We have to be a little bit careful about how we phrase that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, who knows if something happens within now and the end of that time in the program, maybe he has a setback. Maybe something happens. I'm not saying it could happen. I'm not saying it should happen, but we also have to be mindful of that. Jonathan Drouin found himself in a position because of mental health where he had to be away from the team. And to be honest, just looking from afar, I thought, well, I'm not sure what the Montreal Canadiens are going to get. Now they found himself with a player who you can make the argument that's been the team's best forward over the last few games. It could be the case with Carrie Price, but it could also not be. Another thing we have to consider, too, Carrie Price didn't skate at all during training camp. For people who just think that he's just going to come out of the program and then just all of a sudden start skating like the very next night. Like, I'd be very stunned I don't think that's going to happen at all. Like, he needs like a couple of days to, just get back himself up to speed and make sure he's in a position where he can play. There's also a guy who was nursing some injuries over the offseason as well. Like, we have to be mindful of that as well. And I'll say this, like, I don't have an exact timeline for you, but for people who just expect that Carrie Price is just going to be rushed into action the minute he gets out of that program, I think you need to pump the brakes on that just a little bit. He still needs some time to get himself ready so he can play some NHL hockey. I know the team needs him, but we all got to be a little bit careful about how quick we are to rush Carrie Price back to action. He'll go when he's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. So, Julian, around the league now, we've seen a bit of a flip in terms of the standings, and it's early. Let's just preface this.
Very early.
But we've seen Buffalo at the top. We've seen New Jersey in the top half. Let me just pull it up. Columbus is in the top half. San Jose's up there. Even St. Louis, a team that's kind of struggled the last couple of years to really find who they are. They only have one loss so far. Out of the teams that maybe have some surprising hot starts, I named a few, but maybe you have somebody else in mind. Is there anybody who can actually sustain it, or are we just way too early to be looking at this stuff?
One, we are obviously a little bit too early. A lot of people like to put the American Thanksgiving set of days as the benchmark for when teams should be taken seriously or not. But is that going to stop us from making those conversations?
No, of course not.
No, absolutely not. St. Louis, obviously, with the pedigree that they have, that's a team you probably look at as a squad that could probably sustain it. I'll be honest, at the beginning of the year, I was trying to think of coaches who could be on the hot seat. I thought of Craig Berube out in St. Louis because of the fact that they've struggled over the last little while. And yes, they dug themselves out that one year they won the Stanley Cup from last place to win a Stanley Cup eventually. But this is a team that expects to, at this point with the core that they have, expects to be a perennial playoff contender. And they've been out of the first round in the last few years. Like, they need a team that's going to be good this year. So I kind of thought maybe that might be an option, but I could see them sustaining it. I have to shout out Buffalo, though, because nobody was giving them anything at the beginning of this year. A lot of people thought that they were just going to roll over. I'm sure there was at least somebody who semi-seriously thought that they were going to go 0 for 82 this year. And they've turned into a squad that says, you know what, even though we're not going to be the most talented squad in the National Hockey League, we're going to fight every night that we play in the National Hockey League. And you know what, even though it is very early, I'm going to just roll with you guys and go with the takes here. But Don Granato, as far as I'm concerned, Jack Adams Trophy winner, give him the trophy right now. I think the Buffalo Sabres, even if they find themselves in a position, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. I think if he even gets them to a point where they're remotely close to even fighting for a playoff spot, that should be enough for him to get Jack Adams Trophy votes. The players seem to like him. He's a good motivator and a good communicator with those players, and he's found a way to get a lot out of this team. Even if it is the early going of the year, I think a lot of people thought they'd be looking a lot closer to what the Arizona Coyotes look like right now. A team who, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they've won a game yet either. They haven't won a game yet.
Nope.
I thought a lot of people expected Buffalo to look like what Arizona is right now. But the Buffalo Sabres are a respectable hockey club. They've beaten some decent teams, including the reigning Stanley Cup champions Tampa Bay Lightning. I think the Buffalo Sabres deserve a ton of credit for the way that they've started. And if they're able to sustain this going forward, man, that's a really, really good thing. But the expectations for Sabres fans, they just want a respectable club. So just being out of last place might be enough for a lot of fans. So
I'm going to take your hypothetical. I'm going to run with it. Who do the Sabres boot out of the playoffs in the Atlantic Division if they were to make the playoffs?
Oh, boy.
Out of the four teams that we all assume are going to make the playoffs, is what I should say, in the Atlantic. It's one of those divisions. But who would they kick out?
I still have Tampa Bay as a playoff team. I think Boston's a playoff team. I don't know where their standings are.
It's weird.
Julian, I'll help you out here.
Teams.
Let's kick this can down the road to American
Way
Thanksgiving,
too early,
and then we'll ask you for the answer to that question.
You gotta ask you that. I don't want to say like the Sabres going to kick out the Leafs, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, the Leafs."
Let's just say Boston, and everybody's happy.
And you know what, Julian? And it's funny because we don't talk about the Buffalo Sabres a lot on this program here. So it's funny. You mentioned Don Granato, right? And even dating back to last year when they replaced Ralph Kruger with Don Granato, the Sabres all of a sudden became a little bit more competitive of a team, and that was in the absence of Jack Eichel dealing off Taylor Hall. Like you said, he's got them playing with a bit of an identity, and it's, again, something that's been surprising to most. And again, sticking on those Buffalo Sabres on a not fun topic, I'm sure you're just as sick of talking about it as everybody else is. But on Friday, the hot stove seemed to get to a boiling point again with the Jack Eichel trade rumors. Is there any merit to these at this point, or are we just still now at when it happens, it happens?
I'm in the secondary camp where when it happens, and I'll just say this. I am pretty grateful that I do a podcast with someone who's very much in the know about what's going on with Jack Eichel.
I was going to say, quickly text CJ.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like CJ sometimes will just be like, "Hey, man, someday, like he already warned me in advance for trade deadline day, like don't text me that day." So like I have to be very careful about the privilege of having a friend as an NHL insider. But yeah, man, like I'm just with you guys, man. I'm just trying to figure out when this is going to happen. Jack Eichel is a guy who should be seen as an NHL star right now. He should be helping it. Imagine if he was playing with this Buffalo Sabres team right now that's playing above what it's supposed to be. Like, they might actually be a respectable team in the National Hockey League, or a team that could actually have a chance at making the playoffs in a wildcard spot if Jack Eichel was healthy enough to play. But instead, he's sitting at home trying to figure out when his neck is going to be fixed. He's probably not going to be able to play at the Olympics in February. And who knows which team he's going to end up with next. This is a team that this is a situation I thought would have been resolved in the summer when all these teams were, trying to figure out their teams for the free agency and other trades that might happen. And all these other teams were looking to be interested in the regular season. A lot of that money's already tied up. So whatever they can get from a possible trade, like, they better just stick with it. I mean, if it's Vegas at this point, take it from Vegas. If it's somebody else, if it's Calgary, I don't know, like, just take it. At this point, just be done with the situation. The Buffalo Sabres, as far as I'm concerned, I can't think of a scenario where they win a trade, but stranger things have happened. But at this point, you're just better off getting whatever assets you can get for Jack Eichel and just moving on. I think a lot of fans are exasperated over that, and they just want to see a situation where, that dark Jack Eichel cloud has finally moved away from them, and he can be on another team where he can move on with his life.
And anytime the word grievance starts getting into the conversation, I'm sure that's just what the NHLPA right now wants to hear is like, hey, we got other stuff going on. We don't need a grievance. Can you please just handle this? We have bigger fires to put out here, and they sure do. But let's go back to you. We go from one league icon in Carey Price to another in Jack Eichel to another in Alex Ovechkin. He's lighting up the league to start the year. 9 goals already. I'm going to give you a two-parter. One's more fun. One's a little bit more on the team. Can he meet Gretzky's record? Can he meet it or exceed it, obviously? And are the Capitals legit? Because a lot of people were writing them off before the year, saying that they were over the hump, they were too old, and right now they're looking pretty good.
Second part first, I was definitely one of those people who thought that they were a little over the hump. Like, I mean, I'm not sure how you guys rank contending teams. Yeah, I think if you're Tampa Bay, if you're Colorado, I'll add Carolina in this now because of the start that they've had. I'll even still give Vegas the benefit of the doubt until they somehow miss the playoffs or something. I will still give them the benefit of the doubt because for them, it has to be boom or bust. There's like a window of teams that I consider to be quality cup contending teams. I'll even say the Islanders are like right there with them as well. I don't have the Washington Capitals there because of the fact that a lot of the talent that Alexander Ovechkin is a guy who, should be well past his prime in the twilight years. And the way that team is constructed, maybe they can make the second round of a postseason, but that's not a team you're expecting to see make a deep run. And then it cuts into the first part of the question you were trying to ask. The fact that Alexander Ovechkin has been producing as well as he has, I mean, it's helping the team, obviously. So, yeah, who knows what that'll look like in the postseason. But to just keep it on Ovi, like, we're talking about the best goal scorer we have seen in this current generation. And it's nothing short of astonishing that at the age of 36, he has been able to light the lamp. Like, we keep thinking that, man, this is the year where his body's just going to break down and he's not going to be able to score as much as he does. Like, oh, man, he's not going to be able to score as much. Oh, no, he's done. Nope, he's just going to find a way to do it.
Just keeps going.
I just laugh at how so many people like to write him off and just think. I remember, like, a couple months ago, somebody was saying, hey, if Alexander Ovechkin was like a free agent, should the Montreal Canadiens find a way to get him? And someone was trying to make the point that he was just like this washed up guy. And I'm just like, you guys realize that, like, Alexander Ovechkin last year, if he was on the Canadiens, he would have been second in goals. This is a team that's been starving for goals for years. Like, Alexander Ovechkin's bad years compared to so many other players in the National Hockey League, just it's nothing short of craziness, man. Not only is this guy going to break the record, this guy's going to have 900 goals when his career is said and done, man. As far as I'm concerned, everyone in the locker room in Washington, if I'm Ted Leonsis, I step into the locker room every night, and I'm like, hey, you do everything you can to ensure Alexander Ovechkin breaks that record. Like, you don't, and I'm sure you don't have to force people that much. He's going to do it because of the fact that everyone should be committed to that goal. We're all rooting for it. It's one of the few good stories we can actually lean on the National Hockey League.
Yeah, and I mean, he is a machine. They were talking about him. I was watching the Lightning broadcast the other night, and they were talking about him from an opponent's perspective, and they're like, this man's a machine. Like, people don't know who he is at this point. Like, this man's a machine. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. And I'm like, I always forget that this guy is built like a brick house. Like this guy, he's no joke. Like he can run people over. He can push you around too. He's not a frail guy by any stretch. But I saw a funny picture, and you'll appreciate this, Julian. I think it was Jeff Veillette on Twitter. I think it was him. And he was doing an NHL franchise mode, and Ovechkin retired with like 889 goals. And he was like, "Come on, NHL! Like, what are you doing? You gotta get him across the line." Anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, Julian, you got a ton going on. We don't want to keep you too much longer. Where can everybody find you? Because again, we've talked about it. You have a lot of stuff going on. Where can everybody find your stuff?
J.K. Mckenzie on Twitter is where you'll find me tweet out a lot of that stuff, whether it's any of the podcasts that I do, which is the Chris Johnston Show, Zone Time with Yahoo Sports, or Hockey Inside Out. By the way, brand new episode of Zone Time should be dropping tomorrow. Myself and some of my friends, Avery Lewis McDougall, Tic Tac Tomar, and Sam Chang of the Broadcast Podcast, we went in on the last week of what's gone on in the NHL, and we do not hold back. And Hockey Inside Out is the weekly Montreal Canadiens show I do with the Montreal Gazette. Andrew Berkshire is supposed to be on the next episode alongside the usual suspects of Stu Cowan and Rick Green. You can check those out on YouTube and wherever else you listen to podcasts as well. And read The Athletic. Subscribe to The Athletic. I don't know what deal we have going on. It feels like we have deals like all the time. But subscribe to The Athletic. You can read my stuff, but you should also read my stuff from Martin Basu, Marc-Antoine Godin, and especially all of our reporting on the Chicago Blackhawks from Katie Strang, Mark Lazarus, and Scott Powers as well. I think we've done a really great job on our end. I know Rick Westhead has been doing some of the best work, but I think the work that we've done at The Athletic has been really great on the story.
Quick little fun fact before we let you go. I joined Clubhouse for a little while, like last year during the pandemic when it was at its height. And Avery, me and him, had like 10 really good chats on Clubhouse. And that was the end of my experience on Clubhouse after that. But we had a great chat, me and Avery, like multiple times.
Did you talk about fashion? Did you talk about fashion with Avery?
Yeah, that came up several times. I think it was during the Blue Jays, like it was the end of the Blue Jays season that last year, whenever Clubhouse was popular.
How it's not acceptable to wear a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey to a family function.
Okay, let's end it on this. Let's end it on this. Avery, you're not Avery. Julian, I got Avery on my mind now. Julian, I'm going to a Calgary Flames game on Saturday.
I see the resemblance.
I'm going.
I see the resemblance. I don't dress like him though.
No, you don't have the.
I don't wear hats like him.
You don't have the hat game. No,
I don't have the Peter Pan hat that he has. No.
I'm going to a Calgary Flames game on Saturday in Calgary. I'm a Leafs fan.
Okay.
So I'm just straight up.
No. You are a die-hard Leafs fan, Clark.
I'm a pretty big Leafs fan. Is it a party foul for me to buy a Flames hoodie or some sort of paraphernalia and wear it to the game? Because Max is giving me a really hard time. I haven't done it yet, but he's saying I can't wear Flames stuff to a Flames game because I'm a Leafs fan.
When you have a TikTok channel built around the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Follow me on TikTok at Producer Clark. But what are your thoughts on this?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. If you wear a Flames anything at this game, are you prepared for Max and any of your fans or any other people who go on TikTok or whatever to give you grief over wearing Flames stuff?
I think you just answered my question, Julian.
Thank you, Julian. Yes.
Okay. Then that's all we need to know as far as I'm concerned.
Nailed it.
If you're willing to bear the brunt of all that criticism, then fine. But if not, then you probably shouldn't.
I'm pretty weak-spirited.
Being a Leafs fan will do that to you for the last 50 years.
I've been wrecked.
Yeah. You guys are jerks. Jeez, you should be soulless by now with what they've endured over the last couple of years, buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's been a rough go.
Man, Julian, thanks a ton for the time tonight. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate all the work that you're doing, especially in today's NHL world. Man, again, can't thank you enough for the time tonight. Continued success in all your endeavors, and we hope we can do this again.
Let me know when you guys want me back on. This was really fun, guys. All the best in everything you guys got, everything you got going on. Sorry, a little late in the night, a little tired.
For sure.
Congratulations to you guys on the show, and let's do this again soon.
All right, get that sleep that you don't know much about. We'll talk to you soon, Julian. Thanks so much.
Sleep. All right, peace, guys.
Take care. Of course, our video guests, as always, are brought to you by our good friends right here at IKS Media Studios. Thank you to Paul and the crew for everything, and Jordan and Rolf, of course, in the back for everything that they do. IKS Media is your premier destination for live events, live broadcasts, entertainments, video screens, graphic work, animation. What else they got? That's a lot of it. That's most of it. But they have a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to make your event the hottest ticket in town, make sure you hit up iksmedia.com.
Clark,
Max, should we just keep rolling?
Well, we should do the ad break for ourselves just to, hang out for a minute. I got to borrow a quote, and no disrespect to any guest that has graciously given time. That may have been a top two not to interview of all time. Man, Julian was awesome. That was great.
Yes.
Especially
You're putting it in the top two?
Top two not to. So if you get what I'm saying there.
Top two not to. So you're saying top one. You're saying out of the top two, he's not number
Clark,
two.
like you said, you were a little behind on the Leafs game tonight. You're still a little behind.
Sometimes your word choice.
No, that's the quote, Clark. You got to get it figured out. But anyways, thanks a ton to Julian Mckenzie.
Not two. I got it. Okay.
Anyways, that was a ton of fun, though, man. Yeah. And again, in a time where it's tough to talk about the NHL right now. It is really tough. And for a guy that is doing the reporting and the work that he's doing right now, just greatly appreciate his effort and obviously his time to come on our little program tonight. Greatly appreciated, and that was a lot of fun talking with somebody who I've followed for quite some time now.
Yeah.
He's doing some awesome work, and it's just awesome to sit down and have a chat.
Like I said, fastest rising person in sports media. This guy, I'm telling you. Know the name, learn the name, get to know him. You're going to know him more in the next coming times. So anyways, do you want to take a break or you want to just keep going?
No, we got to take a break for the ad reads. Come on, man.
Okay, let's take a break. Sponsor love, and we'll see you in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday Hooplife.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
All right, kind of a mixed bag the rest of the way here as we wrap up the show. I've got my Great Western Brewhouse Ultra. Max is still on hiatus, so I'll do all the work for him. Do you want the can crack on the mic?
Got to.
Got it. There we go. So I got the Ultra. This is 4 grams of carbs, 100 calories. Pretty good quality stuff as well. So the rest of the show, I guess I should take a sip.
Should do that. That's another party foul. You're a party foul master.
Oh, please, give me a break.
Pacer Kings.
Give me a break. 6-0 for the Atlanta Braves. 6-0 for the Atlanta Braves.
Braves, go.
Okay, did you just make fun of my email address again?
I don't know. You missed it, though.
Okay, so here's
a little
here's
behind.
a question for our viewers who are still tuned in. I need to get this off my chest.
You got a lot of things you got to get off your chest. You
Janelle
put the
Barkman's
polls
still
out.
watching. We got Myron's checking in. Sheridan's checking in. Adam's still here. Here's the question for you, our viewers. What was your first email address? And please don't hold back.
And why do you still use it as your Facebook login?
Well, here's the thing, okay? So I'll tell you mine. I'll just tell you. Why? It's not that embarrassing. There is a lot worse.
It's not that embarrassing. There was a lot going on at that time.
There's a lot going on, okay? So when I was 12, I moved from Moose Jaw to Regina, and I wanted to fit in with my buddies, okay? And I played on the Regina Pacers baseball team, provincial champs, by the way, and the Regina Kings hockey team. So my email address is pacers_kings@hotmail.com. I guess I shouldn't be. Am I doxing myself right now? It's my old email address. I don't use it anymore. I started my Facebook account at that time because that's when Facebook came out, essentially, with that email address. And I've tried to change it like 5 times. It always reverts
you're
back.
old.
I'm telling you. So like I remember when Facebook got invented. And like I was playing like midget baseball, my first year of midget baseball when I was 15.
Can't call it that anymore.
I know, under 18. Sorry.
There you go.
And I remember going, like, we were out playing catch in the outfield, and I remember somebody be like, "Hey, did you guys see that girl's pictures on Facebook?" I'm like, "What's Facebook, guys?" And they're like,
that piqued your interest. Don't tell the wife that.
Well, she knows. I've told her this.
Oh, but was it your wife?
This was during
the spin zone of the story.
Yes. Yes, and I have since married her.
I just saved you.
That was the origin stories. No, but like at the time, I remember being like, "Oh, guys, like I just got High Five." Do you remember High Five?
No.
I just got Friendster. Do you remember Friendster?
No.
And I was like, do I seriously need another social media app? Like, I don't want another one. Like, I don't even have MySpace.
Fast forward 17 years.
I was big into MSN Messenger. Everybody had.
Oh yeah, MSN was.
Yeah,
that
you
was
had
legit.
that, right? Because you're not that young. I know these guys probably. Rolf's probably like, what the heck's MSN? Like, is that the MSNBC? No, different. But yeah. Sheridan's like MySpace. Sheridan said his was sportsboy_25. See?
That's not bad. And Sheridan, 15 years later, you're still a sports boy.
You're still a sports boy. Yeah. You're still a sports boy. But anyways, I'm waiting for everybody else to pump in their email addresses, unless it's like giving away too much information. But
I was going to say, all right, guys. So at the end of this,
tell me your PIN numbers for all your credit cards, your numbers.
We're going to send you all sorts of offers.
Your mother's maiden name.
Exclusive details.
Your first dog's name. No. Here's a good one. Oh, here's a good one. Myron's chiming in.
Myron of course, Myron has a
drop kicked, like plural, like past tense, _Murphy@AOL.com. Drop kicked Murphy.
That's good. I like that. Good. I see where you're going with that. We're shipping up to Boston with that one.
Yeah,
I like that one, Myron.
Clarky, you got MySpace, Sheridan? No, I don't have MySpace. Sorry. But anyways, I remember High Five, Friendster. There was like a Kickster or something in there. I can't remember that one. There was something Kick was in there. Maybe it was just called Kick. But anyways, I remember all those. And then Facebook comes along. I'm like, another one? It's just going to close down in a couple of months. No, yeah. Here we are. They're friggin' running the world.
Now they're rebranding to Meta.
Yeah, Meta. Yeah, they're not. Well, the app is still Facebook. But
yeah.
Anyways, we can move along here because we do want to talk about some NHL stuff. We want to talk about the World Series. As I said, the Braves are up 6-0 before Max so rudely interrupted me and called my email address dumb.
I never called it dumb.
6-0 over the Astros in the bottom of the 6th. So the Astros are
Braves.
The Astros are running out of time.
I love it.
So this is a very interesting time.
Like. Again, so we talked about it.
I think isn't it 3 out of the last 4 World Series the Astros have been in it?
Something we talked like 4 last 5 or something stupid. Anyways, but just with again, we talked about it last week with the Blue Jays ties. Again, it feels like an eternity ago because what were we talking about? It was game 1 on that Tuesday night, and all of a sudden a week later it's game 6. It's amazing.
They plowed through the World Series.
It's crazy. But
who needs suspense? Just get it done.
100%. But again, with the Blue Jays ties, with no Ronald Acuna Jr., noted Canadian Mike Soroka, he's not there. Man, this team just continues to find ways, and they're going to find their way to a championship.
For the record, I want them to win. I want them to win in Game 7.
Hot tip, Max Fried. Good name.
Good name.
He started on the hill tonight.
You might want to
say
great name.
Yeah, it's a southpaw too.
Yep.
Got a couple things in common outside of a World Series possible World Series ring, and probably
between the two of you after tonight, you may have one combined World Series win.
Maybe we might.
Maybe.
Top 2, not 2.
Let's have a look around the NHL because, as I mentioned earlier, there was 3 shutouts in the early batch of games tonight. The Coyotes lost 3-0 to the Flyers. I don't know if Carter Hart was in net for that or not.
Caught a hat.
As we talked about with Julian.
Caught a hat was in net.
Oh, good.
The Coyotes are 0-9-1.
Oh, God. As Julian Mckenzie mentioned earlier in our chat with him, the Canadians did beat the Red Wings 3-0. And my Leafs beat the Golden Knights 4-0 in a great game. Austin Matthews, 2 goals. Mitch Marner, goal of the year candidate. I'll say it right now. And William Nylander capped it off with the 4th goal of the night. So pretty pumped about that.
Paid $10.9 million. Should probably have one of those chances every night.
So the Wild and the Senators are 4-4 right now in the 3rd period. And I'm pretty sure it was 4-4 at the end of the 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So crazy game there.
Hopefully took the over in that one.
Yeah, seriously. The Stars and Jets, talk about high-scoring games, 3-3 in the middle of or almost near the end of the 3rd period. Your Predators, Maxwell, are up 2-1 on the Calgary Flames, the hottest team in the NHL.
Literally and figuratively.
As dubbed by Scott Laughlin earlier today on the Rod Peterson Show. He said the Calgary Flames, as you mentioned, literally and figuratively, the hottest team in the NHL.
And then you run into the buzzsaw Nashville Predators, and again, it just is what it is.
Who scored the goals, you know?
Luke Cunnin.
Philip
Forsberg.
Your boy.
Might have heard of him.
Philip, he's on my fantasy team. He's on one of my
2
of my fantasy teams, actually, I think.
Matthew
Philip Forsberg.
Tkachuk.
Matty. And the Ducks, they're up 1-0 early on the Devils.
Ryan Getzlaf grabs a goal. Good local boy. Hey,
Getzlaf got the goal.
Good shout out to
just picked him up in a league.
Hey,
stoked.
Good shout out. Did you start him?
I did.
Attaboy,
good
Clarky.
The Rangers and Canucks are underway as well. Let's have a look at the standings around the league now.
Dude, you forgot the game of the night.
What?
The World Beaters.
Hasn't started yet.
Oh,
Sabres and Sharks.
No, you didn't even mention it.
Sorry. Sabres and Sharks.
The Buffalo Sabres.
2 of the hottest teams. 2 of the hottest starts in the league. Sabres and Sharks. Who would have thought?
Sharks. Just must-see TV at 10:30 on Hulu.
Logan Couture is back in this game. He was missing. He missed a game on the weekend. He's a good player. Good player. And actually, we had Logan Couture on the Rod Peterson Show, and then like 2 weeks later was that incident that he got in where he got punched on the street for saying something about Donald Trump. He got punched in the street.
Yeah, that's right.
Holy. And then of course. I just remember this vividly because it was just hilarious. Like, why does
you remember things vividly?
Yeah. I remember he retweeted one of our posts that because of the show that he was on. He retweeted it. And then somebody went and it was like the top of his timeline. And somebody commented and said, at Rod Peterson Show, do you regret having this guy on now? And I was like, no. The guy got attacked. Why would I regret having him on? Just because he talked about politics? People aren't allowed to talk about any politics anymore?
Guess not. Nope.
Anyways, let's look at the division standings. As we mentioned, it's kind of a flip-flop league right now. In the Eastern, let's start there. The Metropolitan, Carolina is 8-0. 8-0. Haven't lost a game. Here we go.
Pretty sure you had them missing the playoffs in our preview show. That was a good take. That was a good take, Clark.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. You did good there.
I also think we both had the Blue Jackets in last place, and they're currently in 4th.
Yeah, but we're 8 games into the year.
Yeah. We'll all say the same thing about the Hurricanes then.
Well, that's not
true.
We're only
8 games into the year.
If you start 8-0, let's also check percentages of teams that start 8-0 to make the playoffs.
It's interesting, like you said, though. So they only have, 74 games left? Is that the math?
Good math.
Even if they went 37-37, is that good math?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's 90-point
they
season.
would still be 45-37. They still have a 90-point season. They're probably still making the playoffs, even if they go 500 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Which they won't because they're good. The Rangers are up there. The Capitals, as we mentioned with Julian as well.
The Penguins have kind of calmed down. I was worried about that take.
This is one of the divisions. This is probably, if we're going to switch through all of them, this is probably the only one where all of the teams are like 500 or better. The rest, there's some real division. So if we want to switch over to the Atlantic, which includes the Florida Panthers.
Did you say there's some real divisions?
Real division within the division. interdivisional division, if you know what I'm saying.
Ultra strong today.
Yeah, it's good. The Panthers, as we move on to the Atlantic Division, the Panthers again 8-0-1. They're coming off to a hot start. Look at that goal differential too, literally doubled.
Yeah, well, we all know what goal and run differential really means when it comes to making the playoffs, right?
We're Blue Jays fans, yeah. The Lightning, even though that they're second, their record they're almost 500. The teams from 2 to 7 in this division, this one I guess is kind of similar, but it's a lot of 500-ish records. The Leafs winning tonight, I guess they move up past the Red Wings tonight because they got that 5th win. Again, it's early, and we'll see how that all shakes down. The Sabres are the surprise team for me, and the Canadiens off to that real slow start. The Bruins, again, they've only played 7 games, so it's hard to really say that they're in 6th, Max. They only played 7 games. Let's move on to the Western Conference, and I'll just roll with what Rolf puts up. Whatever he puts up, we'll do that one. With the West. So the Central. Let's start with your Central Division, Max. Look at that. Nashville's in a playoff spot. Stop the count. Nashville's in a playoff spot.
Man,
Stop the count.
They were 1-4, and now they're on a 3-game heater, holding on strong against the Calgary Flames. Don't say I didn't told you so. This team is going to be competitive.
I didn't told you so.
This team's going to be competitive.
Now, I don't know, Max, if you're reading this the same way I am, but they're a better team than the Colorado Avalanche, if you ask me.
And then I'm going to go back to my statement of it's very, very early.
Sure. The Blues are the team that I think...
Why are we talking about the NFL standings?
I think
they're
shook up
more...
We'll get into that with Squad Select.
I just like talking about 9:30.
You know how I like talking about way too early hockey stuff.
Oh yeah, I do.
The Blues and Jets are leading the division at the moment.
Did they cut
the Wild.
Andre Kasha yet?
No, not yet.
I thought you wanted them to.
No, not Pierre Engvall is the guy I want them to cut.
Well, 2 games in, you weren't sure on Andre Kasha.
No, I like Kasha.
Well,
I just didn't know how to pronounce his last name yet. That's all it was. The Wild.
It was pronounced AHL.
There you go.
That's what you wanted.
You're rough. No, you're reading it. You're reading the room wrong. Read the room, Max.
I'm reading I'm reading the green tea leaves wrong.
Yeah. I could use some green tea. The Wild are 5-3, even though they've been dealing with quite a bit of COVID issues in Minnesota. They've had quite a bit. Zuccarella's out right now.
COVID in Minnesota.
Yeah, seriously.
Did you ever see that music video?
I don't know. Yes. Yeah. I remember you showed me. Yeah, it's cold in Minnesota.
No, okay, that's not good. Don't joke about that.
The Stars.
Cut that, guys.
Look at the Stars, though, Max. I think this is an area for concern for the Stars because we both had them as playoff team. I think at the beginning of the season, we had them making the playoffs, a kind of a turnaround, bounce back year because they had all these injuries last year, and their goal differential is they can't score goals.
Are we still saying that we're actually concerned when we literally just said they're 8 games into the season?
Hey, we can start looking at trends. We can start. They've lost 3 in a row. They can't score
American
a goal.
Thanksgiving, man.
All right, fine.
Oh,
fine.
boy.
Screw. Why are we even doing the show? Let's just end the show. Let's look at the last one because Max wants to see the Pacific Division.
Oh, totally.
And then we'll just get out of it and go into Squad Select NFL picks. The Oilers and Flames are hot. The Sharks are hot. The Ducks are mediocre. The Golden Knights can't score a power play goal. And the rest of the teams are 3-5. So let's
Kings
move
lost
on.
Drew Doughty.
Because Max doesn't care. So
nailed it. Let's go.
Let's move on.
We'll check back in on these in December.
Great.
Moving on, guys, to the NFL.
Sorry for
Von Miller's a Ram. Did you hear?
Sorry for trying to create some hashtag content.
Okay.
Let's look at the NFL now. Again, the trade deadline has come and gone.
We could do that with Tom Brady and Von Miller,
Could. The trade deadline has come and gone. The big 3 trades were the 2 Ingrams, Melvin and Mark.
Mark the second.
Mark, yeah, he's off to back to the Saints where it all started for him.
Back to New Orleans.
And they could use some help. I guess Kamara is getting all the touches, but it never hurts to have.
No, Mark Ingram got some touches on the weekend. No, he did.
It never
some
hurts to have running back depth.
Well, absolutely, and especially when Jameis Winston's down for the year now.
Yeah, your boy Von Miller to the Rams, Melvin Ingram to the Chiefs, of course. Canadian Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. Dr. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif.
Put some respect on
has been traded from the Jets to the from the Chiefs to the Jets. So he is now a New York Jet. Along with elite quarterback Joe Flacco.
He's also but man, Mike White.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Some dude put $1,000 on Mike White to lead the league in passing and to win $126,000.
Well,
just 1 week. Mike White to lead the league in passing. He threw.
I heard something about Mike White. I didn't know it was that.
405 yards. This guy put down $1,000 and he won 125 off of it.
Myron's asking about the over-under, talking about betting for the show ending tonight. I don't know. We'll see how the Squad Select goes. Max, let's get right into it. Max was 1-4 last week, and I finished another. Was it 5-0? Did I get 5-0?
I don't know. Did you?
I think so.
What does the graphic say?
I don't know.
Where's the graphic?
I think it was 5-0. Let me just double check. But
I'm
Max,
pretty sure you lost 1 or 3.
That means 1 or 3?
Yeah, I suck. I'm not seeing the board clearly. I'm really not. Things are just not going my way when it comes to squad
used
stuff.
to
But
this.
you know what, though? Hey, they like the Kansas City Chiefs, adversity.
Yeah, I think I won all 4.
Builds
all 5.
champions.
Because you picked the Falcons, the Panthers won. I got the Chiefs, they beat the Giants. The Seahawks stomped the Jags. The Rams stomped the Texans. And the Bills beat the Dolphins. So, yeah, I think I went 5-0. So there we go.
This game's rigged, man.
I'm not used to this.
No, you're not.
Not
you're
used to this.
collapse under the pressure.
I might. I'm a Leafs fan.
Consider this a 3-1 series lead, Clark, because you're about to lose it.
So let's get into it right now. Our battle game this week was going to be the Titans and the Rams, and you get to pick it. So save it for the last one, but you get first pick of the week here. So who are you going with?
Well, let me just pull up the actual schedule.
You should have had this ready, Max.
Well, I know I suck.
Show prep. It's because Jordan started the show 5 minutes.
I know,
right?
If I had these 5 extra minutes, I would have had the schedule.
You would have had the schedule open.
You know what? Is
very
what
minimal.
Hey, accountability. You know what,
Yep.
Jordan? That's
on Jordan.
That's on Jordan. You're right. No accountability.
Sorry, Jordan.
Okay.
Don't mean to throw you under the bus.
Oh,
please,
boy.
Please don't wreck the rest of the show.
A juicy one. I think the first pick here. This has got to be simplistic. Don't overthink it. See the board clearly.
See the board.
The Buffalo Bills over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Count it 1-0. Let's go.
I wanted that one. The rest of the week, there's some in terms of matchups, there's no real that was the one to pick. I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Giants. That's my first pick.
Got it.
Raiders over the Giants. I don't know how they're going to react to this Henry Ruggs stuff.
Right.
But
they've the team itself has gone through some major adversity this year.
Yes. Tell me that's true. So we'll see what they do, but I like their chances against the Giants at least, so we'll go with that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, boy, you're right. This is a very strange board.
There's a lot of 4-4 versus 4-3 teams. 4-3, 3-5s, those types of matchups.
Yeah, there really is. You know what? I got to go with the Eagles over the... the opposite way. Pick not laid, pick not played.
The Eagles
Chargers
are hot lately,
over
though.
the Eagles. Justin Herbert's got to have a get-right game here. It's just got to happen if they have any chance of making the playoffs. They got to take care of business against the Eagles.
The Eagles are hot lately, though.
No, the Eagles played the Detroit Lions. It's
That's
pretty
fair.
easy to look hot when you play the Detroit
That's
Lions.
fair.
So we're going to go with the the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals over the 49ers here. Again, 49ers they're not a bad team.
Nope.
But I think the Cardinals are bound to bounce back after that loss to the Packers on Thursday night last week. And I think they want to prove that they're still the team that should be in the top 5 rankings. And Darren DuPont took them out of the top 5 rankings because of their loss to the Packers last week. So
Interesting.
That's a big move for Dupes to do that. But hey, it is what it is. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals to have a big bounce back week against the 49ers.
You know what? I want to go here. I got to go to Thursday Night Football.
Are you writing these down?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I got this handled, man.
Good.
Don't you worry. Got you.
Good.
I got to go to Thursday Night Football again here, mainly because I have a bit of a gambling problem. Just kidding. I do it responsibly. I make sure I do that.
Yep.
But it's got to be the Colts for me. Carson Wentz, man, what a tough end to that game that he had. But Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., the Colts, again, got to have a get-right game. They let that one slip right through their fingers against the Tennessee Titans over the weekend. So I got to go with the Colts on Thursday night against the Jets. I just don't think they're capable of stringing two together. But now that I say that, I'm sure Robert Saleh and crew will. Mike White. Mike effing White, as Ty Johnson would say.
Now, with Dak Prescott being questionable this week and not playing, is he on the lineup this week? Do we know that yet?
Hashtag Tuesday picks, man. I don't know.
Okay, you know what? I'm going hashtag Tuesday pick, Cowboys over the Broncos. The Broncos did beat the Washington football team last week 17-10.
Hey, man, Cooper Rush looks good. I mean, I don't know if he's good for a number 1 power ranking.
There you go. I'm doing it.
But
Cowboys, Cooper Rush or not.
If Dak is in, then yeah, that's a good pick.
I don't hate it.
That's worth the wager.
It's
worth the wager, as they say.
We'll go with it. Your turn.
The wager. Hey, that's good alliteration. Worth a wager. Yeah.
Worth a wager. Wallace.
Market. Nah, you lost it.
Sorry.
Had it, lost it. Packers over Chiefs. Devontae Adams should be back. I'm hoping he's back. Praying he's back.
Okay.
The Chiefs look broken for some strange reason. Packers defense looks good.
Yeah.
I know the Chiefs made a couple acquisitions on defense today. I don't think it's going to be enough to move the needle for them.
Not going to tip the scales.
Yeah, not going to tip the scales. But again, as soon as you pick against the Chiefs, they seem to find a way. But I'm confident in the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he knows how to get it done.
I will go to the... Sorry, I changed weeks. I'm going back and forth between last week and this week because I haven't done that in the past, and it's probably going to come back to bite me. I'm going to go with the... Where did it go? There it is. The Ravens over Vikings. Vikings lost last week to the Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowboys. And a guaranteed win week because every time I pick against the Vikings, they win. But I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think they have a good chance in this one. Let's go with it. I got one more still. Like, there is some...
No,
this
you're
is
done.
tough. No, I think I have one more.
You have Raiders, Cardinals, Cowboys, Ravens, and the Titans.
And you put the Titans on there.
Yeah,
already.
it's over.
Right.
I'm really happy that you selected this as the battle game. Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans.
No. The Adrian Peterson filled Tennessee Titans.
Adrian Peterson doesn't even play. He doesn't even know the playbook yet, Clark.
He's
Come
a
on.
stud.
Come on, man.
Just hand him the ball and watch what he does with it.
What's that from?
Like
Bow
Wow.
Hand me the ball, watch what I do with it?
Yeah. Give me the ball and watch what I do with it.
That's what I got to watch again. Like Mike is a good... That was a good movie back in the day.
Yeah.
I really liked that one.
Wait, that's hardball.
Is that... Oh.
Give me the ball.
Give me the rock and watch what I do with it.
Ain't no game like a game of hardball.
Give me the rock and what?
Give me the ball.
I don't know.
Give me the ball and watch what I do with
It's
it.
getting late. Regardless, Rams are going to stomp the Titans.
All right.
That might be a bit of a clippable one later in the week, but we'll see. But anyways, I'm just going to say it again for effect. The Rams, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey, a little bit of everything. And hey, you know what? They got a guy at quarterback. His name's Matt Stafford. That guy's pretty good,
I hadn't
too.
heard of him.
Hadn't heard of him?
No.
Yeah. Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, I'm going to enjoy the Rams stomping the Tennessee Titans. Sorry, dupes, love you, but
I will say they
happen.
picked the right game to put on Sunday Night Football because at least
if Derrick Henry was playing, this would actually be a fantastic matchup.
Yeah, it would be a really good game.
But like he was the clear MVP to this point. I know it's a quarterback-driven award, but like Derrick Henry has been stupid good. I want to say I heard Jonathan Vilma. He was on Tim and Friends. Great program, by the way. He was saying that Derrick Henry's yards after contact would still put him ahead as like the leading rusher, and in second place would be himself. So like he's just been absolutely stupid, and it really hurts for my fantasy team, and I'm kind of mourning a little bit. But you know what? Hey, next man up mentality.
Absolutely. So
that's
there
where we're going.
The recap, I have picked the Raiders, Cardinals, Cowboys, Ravens, and Titans. I've been forced on the Titans, but that's fine. The Bills.
Okay, easy.
Well, you picked it, is what I'm saying. Max picked the Bills, Chargers, Colts, Packers, and the Rams.
Go 1-4, and then maybe you can pick the battle game next week. How's that sound?
I like it when you pick the battle game.
Yeah,
I always pick the battle game.
You're so nervous. I could just see this. This is like footsteps.
So what do I have now?
So you got like a 3 or 4 game lead.
I had a
now?
1 game going into this week, 1 game lead,
and I
just went 4. So I have a 5 game lead now. Whew! I got a whole week of 0-5 just to throw away if I want.
Let's easy there, Ofer.
I know. I don't like that.
That's going to be your new nickname if you if you squander this 5 game lead, your new nickname is now Ofer.
Okay, I hear you.
As in Ofer in Squad Select.
Adam Schultz is giving us an update. Freddie Freeman has hit a home run, 7-0 for the Braves.
Pseudo-Canadian Freddie Freeman, stud.
Exactly.
Huge
there you go.
beauty.
Jordan Blodge just says, my view from under the bus. Looks like you need some new socks. Because remember we threw him under the bus a minute ago?
It's November. What are you doing?
Yeah, I got the sandals on still.
Yeah, it's November.
You meant to say shocks. he typed in socks. He meant to say shocks.
Oh, boy.
That's awesome. Alan Lee says, maybe some Flames socks. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Alan, we've determined this. Clark, if you can handle the ridicule.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I like your position on it, though, because,
you've come around.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is shout out to Jason Bizek. I'm going to wear my Puck and Pigskin podcast
That's a great call.
hoodie.
That's a
I'm
great
going to wear
call.
a maroon hat that doesn't have a team on it.
Neutral.
Team issued. Shout out to Team Issued, the company. Great company.
Sponsor, though.
We got to get a sponsor from those guys. It's true. What is Jesse? Jesse, you need to sponsor us. Team Issued. That'd be great. And just maybe these pants. Maybe
you going to wear socks and actual shoes?
I might wear shoes. I'm going to have to walk to the game from my hotel, so I'm probably going to wear shoes.
Call you Gary Bettman. You're such a follower. What?
If you sat in the Rod Peterson Show studio on a daily basis, that place is freaking hot, man. Like if I can take off shoes and add 5% cool down factor. Cool down is what I meant to say.
Just consider it like cutting weight. Just put socks on, then you sweat through your feet, and then it's like cutting weight.
Oh, so you're saying I should wear I should
do the garbage bag thing.
Bag,
put the garbage bag over the feet.
Over the feet.
There you go.
Yeah, because the feet are the main place I need to lose weight.
100%. That's exactly it. You got some thick
thick
ankles.
Big old fat feet.
Thick ankles there, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Nailed it. You can conceal those with shoes and socks.
Right.
I'm not saying I don't have thickness
Nobody
either.
would know.
Yeah,
you're right, Max.
How would they know?
We've solved the world problem here tonight.
That's right. That's what we do here.
Let's wrap her up. We're at just under 8:50, so I don't know where the over-under was tonight, but
third period of the Flames game. And
Adam
Preds
Schultz
game
says, if you buy
so
something at the Flames game, you can just give it to me after. Okay, sure. You want to Venmo me some money, as they say?
That's a States thing.
I know, it's a States thing.
Man.
What's the
we
thing?
do e-transfer.
E-transfer me some money, Adam. I'll buy you something at the stadium. Myron says, Clark, you going to wear flip-flops and no socks when it's minus 45? No. But it's not that yet. And I just didn't feel like putting shoes on yet. So, and by the way, here's what I will do. Promise. On SquadCast nights when we're in studio and it's winter, I will bring the sandals to the studio, remove said socks and shoes, and wear sandals on the show. Just because I like it. So we're going to wrap it up.
Such a follower.
We're going to wrap it up and say goodnight. And thank you guys for watching. Awesome show. Big shout out to Julian Mckenzie.
Yes.
Shout out to Austin Filipchuk for jumping in with us as well. And we'll see you next week. Next week, we don't really have it planned yet. I have a bunch of ideas.
We got some things in the hopper, though.
Yes.
I got to check my phone. There might be a particular message.
Right. You were reaching out to somebody.
Yeah,
so that'd be fun if that can work out.
That would be great.
And we have like a list now. We've started an official list of guests that we have talked to. And I'm going to add to it.
Like how you put "we" on that.
You started it. Because I would text Max like, hey, this person. And Max is like, cool. And then we would...
You're the guest booker,
we would
man.
I know. We would either forget about him or her, or we would forget we mentioned it and then forget to reach out to said person. So
yeah, and then things get backlogged. And it's just,
So we have a list. I also, I'm going to say it. Joel Henderson, we got to get him in soon.
Again, he's on your list.
He's on my list.
Got to check it twice.
And tomorrow...
Was he naughty or was he nice?
He's always nice. And he's got a ton of junior hockey insight that I just
# Mariah Carey season.
Just want to tap into. But anyways, we will see you next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the night. Max, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, man.
Director Jordan and engineer Rolf in the back, thanks for hanging out.
Hey, you know what, Clark?
No woos or anything. Nothing.
Thank you for hanging out.
Oh, thanks.
You did great.
That. Thanks to Original 16 and Great Western Brewhouse for giving us these products. They're fantastic. I always enjoy them. Robin Wildy says, can I be on your list? We should have a fan show at some point.
We talked about that as well.
We did talk about that.
That was in the text.
Yes.
Myron says, as they say.
Max, you'll enjoy this. Myron says, get LeBlanc James on the show next week. What do you think, Max? I do want to have an episode at some point soon. That's a TikTok show, and we have.
I don't know. Does LeBlanc James want to come on and talk to me? I don't know.
Yes, he will. He will.
Oh, will he now?
Oh, he will.
Oh,
I'll ask him nicely.
No,
For some reason, Max thinks he has this massive rivalry with LeBlanc James.
I don't have a massive rivalry.
Exactly. So stop making the jokes about it.
I didn't make any jokes.
He's a decent dude.
Yeah, well.
But I do want to have one show where we have like 2 or 3 like big TikTok people on, and that'd be fun, I think. But we will say goodnight for now.
TikTok?
Yeah, make a video once in a while, and you'll find out. You literally sent me like 3 videos this morning on it.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to send them than actually make them. I don't got that kind of time in a day, man.
Yeah, I made 4 today.
I do this thing called work.
Myron says I'm Team Max. Wait, about LeBlanc James? You have a rivalry with LeBlanc too, Myron?
Oh, look at that. See, he pissed off everybody.
Ah, boy.
Now he can't come on the show.
Myron, are you blocked by LeBlanc? Because I hope you're not. He's a decent
We should get Myron on the show with audio this time.
Myron, do you want to call in right now?
Our director needs to go home.
Yeah, you're right. And you want to watch the end of the baseball game. You want to watch the Preds game.
We got to go, people.
All right, bye.
See you,
We will see you guys next week right here on the Squad. Oh, thank you to IKS Media, Original 16, Great Western Brewery, Real Hooplife is their Twitter handle, RBI Baseball.
And softball
training. I think that's everybody. Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions. And
Great Western.
That'll be it. Bye.
16. Goodbye, everybody.
I said that. Good night.